Welcome students in the lecture of operating system structure. In previous lecture I discussed about system call and system program. Through system call, user can interact with operating system program to access various services. System call are embedded in a program written in C language. It is used to customize operating system to access various services. So far different type of operating system have been developed. We discuss it in evolution of operating systems. Their structures are different, their objective are different, their arrangement are different. So without knowing the structure, user cannot develop a new operating system or cannot customize the present operating system. Most of the operating system has two basic goals. Though the goals are different, in distributed operating systems goal is different from that of real-time operating system. But basic goals, there are two basic goals. One is for user, another is for system. Operating system give the service to user and service to the system. Based on these two goals, structure has been developed so far. The structures are initially it is very simple structure, then complex, modular, microkernel based, etc. In this lecture, I will discuss the four basic structure of operating system. That is, first is simple structure, which is in DOS, complex structure, Linux, modular structure, and microkernel based structure. Simple structure, it was in Microsoft Disk Operating System. It is still a commercial operating system. Initially, the commercial operating systems, many commercial operating systems have no defined structure. They started small and simple, then they grow beyond their scope due to the user demand. DOS was one of the example of such operating system. In this operating system, interfaces and level of functionality are not well separated. As you see in the figure, the application program can interact with ROM BIOS device driver. ROM BIOS is used to boot a computer device. Through application program, you can control the booting process, or application program can also interact with the resident system programs. Through this, it may create an errors or may corrupt the operating system. Its features: MS-DOS written to provide the most functionality in the least space. At that time, the memory space was not so large as in the present situation. The operating systems is written for 8088 processor. Since operating system is directly related to hardware, it depends on the hardware configuration. 8088 processors have architectures is not same as today's microprocessor architecture. It was not divided into module. All the unit was in a single entity. It has a single mode operations, not it is differentiated as user mode and kernel mode. As we see in the last lecture, there is two mode of operations in modern computer system, operating system. Although MS-DOS has some structure, its interfaces and level of functionalities are not well separated. I have discussed it in the last slide. Now, traditional Unix system, it is a complex structure. Unix also written in limited space. It is a layered structure, but not fully layered, but it is pure and simple, not like DOS. In DOS, the modules are not well separated, but here we can find different modules and there are different objectives. It has a monolithic kernel. Monolithic means a monolithic kernel is an operating system's architecture where the entire operating system is working in a kernel space. Here the kernel is the core of the operating system. All the functional programs are written in this space. It was not very simple, just like DOS. It is quite complex. Its architecture is quite complex. A user do not interact with kernel directly. It has a system call interface, which was not in this operating system. It is a secret operating system. It was the first traditional Unix architecture. Its features. At that time, there was limited hardware functionalities. The Unix OS consists of two separable parts: system programs and the kernel, which was not in DOS. A system program interfaces consist of command interpreter, compiler, etc. The kernel have all functional programs like CPU, schedulings, memory management, etc. And it is implemented below the system call interface and above the physical hardware. Now today's Linux architecture has been changed. It is monolithic plus modular. The different modules, the different components are in well separated modules, just like applications program interface, system call interface, then kernel, device drivers and hardware. Through this operating system, concurrent program can be executed and device driver can be added to the kernel as a modules. Layer structure. In layer structure, there is no predefined layers. That means hardware layer, operating system, kernel layer, then system call, then user interface. 3 or 4 layers is we have studied in the last slides that basically there is 3 or 4 or 5 layers, but in layer structure there is a multiple layer in the operating system. Layer 0 is hardware layer, then layer 1, and layer n is user interface. The operating system is divided into a number of layers, each built on top of layer. The bottom layer 0 is hardware, the highest layer N is the user interface. With modularity, layers are selected such that each uses functions and services of only the lower level layers. So the task is minimized in the case of modular layer structure. Since the upper layer get the services of lower level layers provide the service to upper layer only, and upper layer needs the service of lower layer. In this way the interactions is executed. The disadvantages: difficulty to appropriately defining a layer. Which layer will be first layer, which layer will be second layer, it is not well defined. For example, to read a file, storage device is at lower level to memory level, and in this case storage device driver should be at higher level. Sometimes the active process can fit into memory, hence storage device driver required at lower level to the processor. That means we cannot decide whether memory, if I abstract the resources, there is memory, CPU, storage devices, these all are at different layers. Sometimes it is needed that IO device driver should be below the memory layer, so that to read a file, IO device can directly access to hardware and it provides the service to memory. Sometimes it is needed that the program is very small and there is no read-write operations. CPU can directly execute the program using the memory. So in this case, CPU will be in between memory and IO devices. So it is not appropriately defined the layer. Less efficient than other type. There is communications between various layers. Each layer has an overhead, so this becomes slow when it is executed. Now, microkernel based operating system, microkernel structure. In microkernel, as the spelling means, that minimum functionality in the kernel. It should not be the kernel consists of all the functionality, that CPU, schedulings, memory management, IO management, etc. It may consist of one or two functionalities. Now its features is moves as much from the kernel into user space. Since kernel has minimum functionality, most of the executions or operations done in user space. Communication takes place between user module using message passing. Since the kernels in kernel, suppose that there are three kernels, three different computers in a network. One kernel, there is CPU scheduling processes, another is memory management programs, another is IO modules. So there is a communications between the modules, and this communication takes place through message passing. It is a techniques in inter-process communications. We will read it later. Its example is Mac. Basically, distributed operating system uses the microkernel based operating system. Mac is a distributed operating system. Its benefit: easier to extend a microkernel, easier to port the operating system to new architecture, more reliable, more secure. Since it is a very small functionality, it contains very small functionality, it can port to any operating system, new operating system architecture. For this reason, it is implemented as distributed operating system. It is more reliable since less code is running in the kernel mode, so it is reliable. It is also secure. Disadvantages: performance overhead of user space to kernel space communications. When there is communication between user space to kernel space, there is overhead. That means address space, storing the and saving all the address spaces and various other resource informations operating system has to manage. So there is a performance degradations in this case. This is a structure of microkernel based operating system. The various users, applications, programs, file, system, device driver, and in microkernel there is a different microkernel. First as inter-process communications, memory management, CPU seedling. Now kernel is divided into 3 different microkernel on its inter-process communications, memory management, CPU seedling, and device driver and file system communicate with CPU seedling and memory management programs. So in this case, this two microkernel is needed. On the other hand, file system and application program communicate each other using memory management and inter-process communications program. So in this case, this two microkernel is needed. Now, building and booting the operating system. Now we have come to a stage to design and implement an operating system. Operating systems generally designed to run on a class of systems with variety of peripherals. Peripherals means the printers, scanners, it may be keyboard, video display unit, and other devices which are attached to a computer. What is the objective of operating system? Why you have to write an operating system? You have to decide whether you have to add various peripheral device or you have to modify the existing operating system. Commonly, operating systems already installed on purchased computers. We all have operating system like Windows, Linux, and other operating system, but still there is a scope of development. To write new operating system, you have to find what are the design issues, what are needed today, what are the mechanisms, and in this way you can build and install, get an idea to build and install some other operating system. If you want to develop an operating system from scratch, write the operating system source code, just like file management program CPU serial program, etc. Now you have to configure the operating system to existing hardware, and if you develop a virtual operating system, then you have to configure it with Windows platform or Linux platform. Now compile the operating system in this environment. Next, after compilations, everything is okay, install the operating system in your system or in other system. Now last is important point is boot the computers in its new operating system. Booting is a very important process. We all know that booting is a startup process. When you switch on the computer, the operating system kernel load into the memory. Who load the operating system in the memory? It is the ROM BIOS who load the operating system kernel to the main memory. Nowadays, ROM is obsolete. In place of ROM, every operating system, every computer and operating system need PROM, programmable read-only memory. Basically, it is EEPROM, which is writable. It is also known as firmware. Now, the BIOS program, which is also known as bootstrap program, it's loaded in this component. When computer is switched on, BIOS, which is reside in PROM, play and load the operating system into main memory. The summary. In this lecture, we study why to know the structure of operating system and what are the different type of operating system. We have studied the simple, which is in DOS, sub-complex architecture, it is in Unix, a microkernel based system, which is used in distributed operating system, that is Mac, and finally a layered operating system, which is still not implemented. It is a concept. So this is the end of the second unit of operating system structure. Thank you.